Hey, what's going on YouTube? I'm Trent Wel-Don with Wel-Don Tanks and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are probably doing the most terrifying video I have ever done in my history of making content, but also the most terrifying thing I've done in the history of my fish keeping. We've got a couple pufferfish that if we do not intervene, I honestly feel like they are going to die. So full disclaimer of this video, this is a hard thing to do, and I'm only going to recommend you do this on your own fish if you are confident in your ability. You have to know what you're doing in order to do this, and this could potentially kill your fish if you do it wrong. So if you attempt this and it goes wrong, I am not to be held liable. I am documenting this to show you the absolute extreme case of what needs to be done. And also, if you face that case, to give you the proper tools and guidance to help you accomplish this. With that out of the way, let me explain what we're talking about tonight. A few weeks ago, I had a friend that gave me 2 Amazon pufferfish that had been in their care for some time. Now, what's quite interesting about these Amazon pufferfish is they were literally eating krill flake, the extreme krill flake in the tank. I had no issue having them eat the extreme krill flake. I had no issue them eating even frozen foods like brine shrimp and bloodworms. But the problem that came down to it, and this is something that both of us had the problem with, is we could not get them to eat snails. Now, what am I saying about that? They would attempt to eat the snail, but they were unable to get their jaw open wide enough, their mouth open wide enough to actually eat the snail. The problem we ran into is that the teeth of the pufferfish actually had an overbite. Now, this is why it is so important to feed all species of pufferfish something with that shell. Snails, frozen clams, they need hard food to grind those teeth down so we don't run into this issue. What had happened over time on these Amazon puffers is the lack of that shell grinding their teeth down, but I also honestly feel some possible genetics. The teeth, so puffer have a beak, right? There's 2 teeth up top, 1 tooth in the bottom, and when they crunch, that's how they're able to dig into things and crack shells. But the 2 top teeth had grown so large and so long, they were unable to grab the shells of a snail and actually eat it appropriately, therefore growing even longer teeth. So I think they adapted to eating things like krill flake in kind of order to survive. They also made it kind of be an odd puffer to do that. So tonight I'm going to show you the surgery that we did of actually clipping these puffers' teeth, and then the process of doing that and explaining again how we did it. But please remember, this is a very extreme case, and after weeks of attempting to reverse this naturally, I felt it was time to take action to actually save these fish's life. To prepare for this surgery of trimming these puffers' teeth, there are a couple tools and things you're going to need to prepare for and keep in mind. So the first thing you are going to need is 2 separate containers. One with clean water, and one to prepare for medication water, if that kind of makes. So you need clean water, medicated water. Now, what we're going to use to actually medicate these fish is 100% clove oil. This has to be 100% pure clove oil. Now, the problem here that we run into is if used inappropriately, if you use too much of this, it will euthanize your fish. Now, the recommendation I have, and again, it's only my recommendation, is it's 5 drops per 1 gallon of water. So if you have a container that's a gallon container, if you're able to do this in a gallon, that may be the most beneficial way to do this. 5 drops to 1 gallon, or 5 drops to 4 liters, which roughly translates to 1 gallon of water, is what you're going to need to sedate your fish properly. Now, I am using 2 specimen containers, as it was the most readily available to myself, but also what I could use to then film this, show you the fish beforehand, show you the fish afterhand. So I personally used 2 drops of clove oil. Now what I did is I mixed 2 drops of clove oil into 1 specimen container. This is now our medicated water. Mixed it and moved the puffer fish into that specimen container. It took about 10 minutes for the time that you could actually start seeing them be sedated. Now, with the 2 drops I did in this amount of water, and it did not fully sedate them. They were definitely dazed, definitely confused, but I had this second specimen container that's actually holding the fish right now of the clean water. That way, as soon as I'm done pulling them out of the medicated water, snip the teeth, I immediately move them to the clean water, where you need to be ready to get them back into that clean water, get them out of sedation, and do not panic if it takes them a few minutes. It can, if you've ever been under sedation yourself, you're kind of groggy when you come out of it, so your fish are going to be slower coming out of that sedation. What you're going to need from there, I also highly recommend, is a towel, just in case you drop the fish, just something to protect your workspace. And then I also highly recommend rinsing your hands before you do this. Do not use soap. Rinse your hands with hot water, warm water. You need to get off any lotions, perfumes, oils. Get all of that off your hands as best as you can, but don't use that soap because you don't want any soap residue going onto your fish. Then the tool that I use to actually clip the teeth is these little pair of wire cutters I was able to find at Home Depot. But we've even got little nail clippers for guinea pigs that would work. So you need something that is fine and delicate to get under the puffer's teeth and snip it, because these are not a large fish. At least in this case, these are the Amazon puffers. They're not large. Now, if you're doing this on something like a Fahaka puffer fish that had much more body mass, I still would probably use these clippers. You got to go with the tool that's best for the job, and unfortunately there's not a best thing for this because it's not natural to do this. Naturally, puffers grind their teeth. So this is the recommendations that I have for you of the process of this. So let me show you the process of doing this. So I'm going to say there is some viewer discretion advised. The fish are alive, they're well. This is the aftermath. This is the after of that. 2 puffer fish, both alive, both moving. I am going to move them into a separate tank for the next couple weeks so that let them eat on their own so I can target feed snails to them. But the viewer discretion is advised because this is me trimming the puffer's teeth. And I know this is probably going to be an extremely controversial video, but I felt needed to be documented to show you this was an absolute extreme case. And the puffers, you'll see in the video, they've lost a lot of weight. I have tried to get weight on them, to get that round belly to them. They're extremely emaciated, and I truly feel that if we did not intervene, we would lose the lives of these puffer fish. So let's move on and show you how I did this. So yeah, we're just gonna come. One, two. Easy. That quick. So now we literally just need to get these guys moving again. These need to get fresh water moving through their gills. They're going to be a little derpy for a minute. I promise you they're not dead. So all in all, it was a quick procedure. It did not take very long, and you need to work as quickly as possible, but also safely as possible. It's one of those weird things that fast is slow, slow is fast, scenarios of you need to pay attention to what you're doing, but you also can't have these fish out of water for minutes on end. So fortunately, this was a successful thing. Both puffers are doing well. I can say I'm going to keep them separated for the next couple weeks, let them definitely get some strength back, get the health back, the weight back to them. But I'm curious though, let me know down in the comments if you've had to deal with this. Do you have puffer fish that you've noticed the teeth are getting larger, and are you giving them the correct diet? I like to hear your experiences and what you have going on, because this was I'm talking a little fast in this video because this was nerve-wracking. This was extremely anxious for me to do this. But again, this was a successful video. So I know this is controversy, and if you want to have an honest, open discussion with me, let me know down in the comment section. I'm not here to cause issues. I'm here to document my journey along this and teach you how to do this appropriately, but also remember that disclaimer. So everybody, I hope your fish are doing well. Hopefully everyone's healthy and happy. And let's break it up a little bit. Instead of all the monotonous things, let me know in the comment section what projects you're working on. We're still in the process of building our fish room here in Texas. So let me know down in the comments what you're working on. And kind of bring some positivity to all this going on. But anyone, thank you so much for joining me. I truly do appreciate your support, and we will see you on the next one.